Stop jumping on me. Why are you doing that?
Having a bad dog day?
Rex, come back here.
From police dogs to pet dogs, from potty training to pet peeves, #1 best-selling author and 30-year canine trainer Andy Falco knows how to get to the meat of what's eating your dog. This is Falco Canine Dog Talk, the show that helps you and your dog create a relationship of love and respect.
What a good boy. Good heel, Rex. I love you, Rex.
And now here's your host, Andy Falco.
Hello, this is Andy over at Falco Canine Academy's Dog Talk. I am so happy to be here with you. And, of course, Falco Canine's Train the Dog Trainer program. And we're going to be talking about something very important today. Not that the other podcasts weren't important, because I'm sure they are too, or else I wouldn't have spoke about them. But this one is going to be what's going to set you apart from everybody else. So it is important that you come up with what we call in the marketing business, unique selling proposition. Your unique selling proposition, or USP. What is your I don't know if you want to call it your technique or your style or your system of training? What is it that sets you apart from every other dog trainer on the planet? Is there something unique that you have put together? So Falco Canine Academy, as you probably know, our USP is that we train humans first. The humans are the primary thing that we concentrate on. That is why our tagline is human training for your dog. We put the human first because we truly believe that training dogs is actually fairly easy for the most part. Mostly because we've been doing it for a really long time. And so I can't say necessarily in the beginning it was that easy because I didn't know that much. But as time went on, realizing a lot about how dogs operate, what it is that they like and what they don't like, understanding levels of compulsion, levels of praise, the uniqueness between one breed and the next, maybe even the difference between a male and a female, perhaps even in relationship to the size of the dog. Larger dogs act a little bit different than medium-sized dog, and tiny, small, little toy dogs act obviously different than other dogs. You got your dogs like Dalmatians and Chows that you have to kind of understand their uniqueness. Pit Bulls obviously have a uniqueness that other dogs don't have. German Shepherds, Belgian Malinois, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm only putting all that out is because once you've learned all of those things and identified almost without thinking, when that becomes just a natural like occurrence in your brain that you see a dog and that breed and that size and whatever, that your brain automatically connects and knows exactly what to do. Like there's not a lot of thought process. So some of this USP will change over time. So I wouldn't say necessarily my USP in the beginning was primarily focusing on human beings. It was that was focused on the dog, probably more in the beginning than I am now. But I still felt in the beginning that it was really important. Once I figured out the dog, it was important for me now to focus on the human being and explain to them maybe what they did not know about the dog, maybe what their preconceived ideas were about their dog. Maybe they were following the direction of a trainer that came before them in the canine unit, and so simply what they were doing was what they were told was the way you do things, and maybe that person that has been training dogs in the canine unit only experienced German Shepherds, and now you have a Belgian Malinois. There's going to be, in many cases, a huge disconnect as to what worked for the German Shepherd may not work for the Malinois and actually may have the opposite results. So that aspect of understanding when I come into a place and recognizing the issues in regard to a team, a human being and the dog, I almost automatically identify with what is it is the human doing to cause the confusion or cause the positive result. So it can go either way, right? There can be a positive result from who is handling the dog and the human being involved. And you can identify that very quickly, and that's just as powerful, and probably even, I would say, on the level of importance, it's really high, because you don't want to lose your customer right away by blaming them for everything, right? You want to find out what it is they're actually doing well. Maybe they've survived with the dog. That's the thing, they're doing well. But I think that I've saved many a dog from euthanasia, because in many cases it wasn't the dog. I became very skilled at identifying really quickly what it was the human was doing to increase the probability that the bad behavior was something that they were doing, right? Whatever they were doing was increasing that bad behavior, or bringing out even more fear in a fearful dog, as opposed to building confidence in a fearful dog. So I don't mean to be going way off track here on a dog training podcast necessarily, but I just want you to really kind of hone in on what it is that you do. What is it that you do that allows you to do what you do? So as we've been going through these podcasts, we've been talking about how it is you're getting experience training dogs, how it is that you are going to get a lot of dogs under your belt, and then you're going to transition into now bringing in human beings and figure out, how is it that you can teach them how to do the things that you are doing with the dog, and what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses in regard to doing that. And so as you're going through that, now to my point in telling you all about what it is that I used to do, is that's when I really figured out that I have a particular skill in identifying what is going on with the human being in relationship to the dog. So, and I think even some people pointed that out early on. So I listened to what other people were saying. I then didn't just believe them necessarily. I began to then try to put focus on what I was doing, so I can understand what I was doing, and going, what, they're right. I am, I'm coming to that human being part of the team and really focusing on that and explaining to them, and figured out that was a positive. That is something that people are identifying with. And so I was able to take that and run with it. So what are people telling you? What is your skill? Maybe it is that your hands have a particular calming effect on a dog, and somebody will say, hey, I've noticed that when you are touching my dog, that they act completely different, right? And so you may identify that you have this energy that you have in your being that kind of comes out through your hands, and when you touch a dog, you get a completely different body language behavior with an animal as opposed to when that animal is in the hands of the owner themselves. The dog maybe stiffens up and becomes tense and tight, or when you touch them, the dog suddenly becomes calm and kind of lays on their back and rolls over. There's been times where I have touched a dog or done something with a dog, and the dog instantly rolls over, and the human owner will say, God, I can never get my dog to roll over. That never happens, right? And so you'll come across these things. What I want you to do is, in your journal, I just completed the publishing of a journal that you could that you can purchase and get. It has all the elements and you need to be able to journal effectively in regard to dog training. So it's called Train the Dog Trainer Journal. You can find it on Amazon. I will put a link in the description. But what you want to do is begin to journal these things that you identify, right? Today, I saw that this dog, who normally cannot relax and often seems to be very tense, when I did this thing, the dog became relaxed. And so that might be something that is going to be your unique selling proposition. That thing is that you have the touch of calm with dogs. All right, so you can somehow come up with a name, some type of brand or something like that behind what it is you're doing. Not T-Touch, because that's already taken, but you can come up with something. Let's say that you have a calming voice. Let's say that you have a particular technique that you do in regard to training, that there's something that you do that may be different than what everybody else is doing on the planet, and you give it a name. Now, you have to understand that there's probably nothing new in dog training. Just about everything has been done, but not necessarily everything has been given a name, right? I just came across another technique the other day called the bonker technique, where the guy takes a rolled up towel that's, held together by rubber bands. He holds it over his shoulder, and when the dog does something wrong, he bonks the dog with the rolled-up towel. Now, I'm going to be doing a discussion on that a little bit later on a Facebook Live on my Facebook page, but I have mixed emotions about it because on one level it works, on the other level it's probably not the best technique that somebody could use, and there's some reasons why that I say that. And I'm not going to put down the trainer necessarily because I know that he sees results. And there's a reason why he sees results, because compulsion does work, right, when you're training dogs. But there's some things about it that aren't that great. And so you got to maybe keep that in mind when you're coming up with a system that whatever that thing is, that it doesn't necessarily shock the consciousness of somebody that may be watching. That's one of the issues I have with it, is that when somebody sees their dog getting bonked by something, and then the reaction from the dog is to kind of like fall to the ground and roll on their side, that may not be something they're used to seeing their dog do. And so you got to be a little bit careful when you're bringing in things like this, that what the result is something that's going to shock the consciousness of somebody else. So you can use something like a bonk if you want, but I'm just telling you that there may be some pushback or some negativity that will go along with it. And so whether it's a technique, whether it's a system, whether it's just something that you do organically, find out what that thing is that you can focus on to make it your unique selling proposition. Really, really important, because that's one of the things you're going to brand your business around. Again, Falco Canine Academy are for our pet dog training. It is human training for your dog. For our police dog training, it was train hard, fight easy. Where it was a saying that a Russian commander used back in, I believe, the 1600s, something like that. I can't remember his name. His name was Alexander. And he believed that the harder you train, the less you will have to do in regard to winning battles. Because if you're well trained, you're going to be able to fight easy, because it's going to be second nature. Muscle memory is going to come in, and you're going to be way more skilled than just somebody that's trying to fight just willy-nilly and kind of crazy to try to survive, as opposed to a training hard to have all the skills that you need to win a battle. That's going to allow you to win a battle very easily. So we transfer that over to police dog training, that we want you to train really hard, realistic scenarios, using really good equipment, using realistic environments to train in, and replicate what it is that you're going to do on the street. If you do that, your dog will be able to fight easy and find bad guys. And so that is, again, our unique selling proposition that nobody else on the planet, as far as I could find, was their unique selling proposition for police dog training. And we were really set apart from most other police training facilities because of that USP. All right, so again, one of the things you're just going to want to do is right now just pay attention to what it is you're doing. Pay attention to what results you're having by what it is you're doing, whether it's something you're doing with your hands, maybe your voice, maybe that you've decided that food is going to be your thing, or a certain piece of equipment is going to be your thing, and perhaps maybe it's going to be a system of training. You do A, B, C, D, and E, and you have a fantastic result, whatever that is. That could be your thing. If you've decided to focus on small dogs or big dogs or medium dogs or fighting breeds or working breeds or hunting breeds, that could be part of your unique selling proposition. And what is it you do with those particular breeds? If you're only going to deal with problematic breeds, or if you're going to deal with rescue and shelter dogs. So all these things, take them all into consideration. Again, journal them. Maybe you want to highlight those things that have to do with what it is that you're going to decide at a later date and time about your USP. You're going to go back and look at all your highlighted things, kind of put them down on a separate spreadsheet or just a piece of paper, kind of stand back and look at it and determine what that is. And you're going to be very thankful that you went through that exercise, because that's going to be the thing that you're going to be able to use to put all your marketing together, all your media. Your logo is going to probably come about because of your USP, your branding and your colors. What your stage talk is going to be when you have that opportunity to speak in front of an audience. What your book is going to be about is going to probably be the first thing is going to be your USP. So this USP is going to come in handy once you figure it out, once you put it all together, If you already have one and now after this talk you've decided, wait, I'm going to do something new, feel free to do something new. There's nothing wrong with inventing yourself and recreating your business plan or your brand and rebranding yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if it's going to be even more powerful. So feel free to do that too. All right? So hopefully this podcast has been helpful in helping you understand what a USP is and then how to create your USP. All right, good luck. Let me know how it goes in our Facebook page. Let me know what your USP is on our Train the Trainer Facebook page. And don't forget to look for that journal. The URL to purchase the book will be in the description shortly. I just published it, and it's available, but it hasn't shown available on Amazon yet. But as soon as it is, I will put the URL in the description, and you will be able to get it right there on Amazon. All right, that's it for this podcast. Thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Falco Canine Dog Talk, the show that helps you and your dog create a relationship of love and respect. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address at www.falcocanineacademy.com and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Falco Canine Academy. Follow us on twitter.com/Falco Canine Academy and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Falco143. And remember, if you've got questions for Andy, call the K9 line at 714-798-9961. That's 714-798-9961. This is a production of Falco Enterprises Incorporated. All rights reserved.